Welcome to Facts Not Forecast, your daily edge in the stock market. Facts, insights, and opportunities you won't hear anywhere else. Today we are doing a deep dive into silver, but we're looking at it through a really specific and I think a highly strategic lens. This isn't about silver as, a hedge against inflation. We're exploring a fundamental shift, a reclassification of silver from a simple commodity to a critical strategic industrial material.
That framing is so important because this isn't about the usual macro drivers. It's not central banks or market sentiment. What you have are two massive resource-hungry megatrends that are basically colliding.
Okay, what are they?
First, the enormous global build-out of AI infrastructure, and second, the arrival of next-generation EV batteries. All the sources we've looked at point to these persistent multi-year deficits and some really game-changing tech that just permanently alters the demand curve for silver.
Exactly. So our mission for you today is to give you a shortcut to understanding this whole structural shift. We're going to trace the supply chain from the mine to the refiner all the way down to the new battery cell itself to show you where the real durable value is actually being created in this industrial revolution.
Okay, let's unpack this. Silver has definitely been in the news. We've seen prices pushing really high. Some reports have it spiking near $70 an ounce, even if it settles, around that $64 mark. For a metal that's often overlooked, that's a huge move. Why now? If it's not just a typical commodity play.
The simple answer is that the global silver market just fundamentally cannot meet current demand. And this isn't a new problem. This is the fifth consecutive year we're seeing a structural deficit.
Fifth year? Wow.
Yeah, and think about the numbers here. The projected shortfall for 2025 alone is a huge 117 million ounces. If you zoom out, that contributes to a cumulative deficit of nearly 820 million ounces just between 2021 and 2025.
You can't sustain that.
You can't, not without immense upward pressure on the price. Okay, so that's demand just running away from supply. But if prices are hitting records, why aren't miners just drilling new silver projects? What's the holdup?
That's the key constraint, and it's built right into the geology. Global mine production has been basically flat. It's hovering around 813 million ounces a year. And here's the kicker. Over 70% of silver is a byproduct.
A byproduct of what?
Of mining other metals, mostly copper, lead, and zinc. This makes silver supply incredibly inelastic.
So you can't just decide to mine more silver because the price goes up.
Exactly. The economics of the mine are dictated by copper or zinc. The silver is just along for the ride, so the supply response is just painfully slow, 5 to 10 years easily.
So stagnant supply meeting this collision of demand you mentioned. We hear a lot about solar, but let's talk about the AI data center side. This tech needs so much power, and efficiency is everything.
It's everything. Modern AI infrastructure, these huge GPU clusters, they generate incredible electrical loads and just so much heat. And this is where silver becomes completely non-substitutable. It has the highest electrical conductivity and, maybe more importantly here, the highest thermal conductivity of any metal.
So what does that mean for an AI chip specifically? Aren't there cheaper options?
I mean, the heat coming off these top-end GPUs running large language models is enormous.
Yeah.
To stop the chip from throttling, basically slowing down to prevent overheating, you need to get that heat away fast. So silver is essential in the thermal materials, the switchgear, the connectors.
Right.
Any tiny improvement in conductivity saves millions in power costs for these hyperscale data centers. There's just no substitute when heat management is that critical.
So it's not just a raw material, it's an efficiency tool for the entire digital economy.
Precisely. And that's why we're calling it a structural repricing. Major economies, the U.S. included, have now officially designated silver as a critical mineral in 2025. That underscores its vital, non-substitutable role in national security and economic infrastructure. Silver isn't just rising, its actual role has been elevated.
Okay, that's the computing power side. Now let's pivot to power storage, the second major catalyst you mentioned, EVs. But we're not talking about today's lithium-ion batteries. We're talking about solid-state batteries, or SSBs. You said this isn't an upgrade, it's a platform reset.
It is. It's a total reset because it solves the two biggest roadblocks for EV adoption, safety and range anxiety. The core concept, just to keep it simple, is that SSBs replace the flammable liquid electrolyte in today's batteries with a solid material.
Okay.
That one material change unlocks everything.
So what are the actual performance numbers? What's the aha moment that makes an automaker want to completely retool for this?
The benefits are just transformative. First, safety. You get rid of the flammable liquid. You basically eliminate the risk of fires.
Right.
That alone changes public perception.
Huge.
Second, range and density. SSBs are hitting 500 watt-hours per kilogram. That's nearly double the 270 you get today. That translates to maybe 965 kilometers or 600 miles of range.
600 miles.
And third, speed. They support ultra-fast charging. We're talking 10% to 80% in just 9 minutes.
9 minutes. 9 minutes to get almost 600 miles of range. That is a staggering leap.
And there's a fourth point, which is key for the economics. Durability. They've verified a lifespan of 20 years or 2,000 cycles.
So the battery outlasts the car.
The battery outlasts the car itself. It radically lowers the cost of ownership. It changes everything.
But I have to ask, where does silver fit in? I get lithium, but silver seems like a strange ingredient for a battery.
It's become a core electrochemical component, not just a wire. The most advanced designs use a silver-based architecture, specifically a silver carbon or AgC composite layer at the anode.
Okay, hold on. The dendrite problem. For anyone listening who isn't a battery chemist, what is that and why is silver the thing that solves it?
It's the Achilles heel of high-density batteries.
Yeah.
When you charge a battery, especially fast, lithium ions can form these little needle-like metallic structures called dendrites. And over time, they grow, they can puncture the separator, cause a short circuit, and poof, the battery degrades or fails. The silver carbon layer acts like a stable host. It suppresses those dendrites from ever forming. It's the key to unlocking that 20-year lifespan and safety.
So that silver layer enables the longevity and safety, which means you need less heavy cooling stuff. This really is a profit structure reset, not just a tech refresh. Okay, here is where it gets really interesting. This moves from the lab to the market. This isn't just theory, a major player is industrializing it. Let's talk about Samsung SDI.
Right, Samsung's edge here is what they're calling a super gap. Their all-solid-state battery, or an SSB, uses a specific sulfide electrolyte with their proprietary AgC composite layer. That combination allows for a much thinner anode, which is how they get that incredible energy density, while perfectly stopping the dendrite.
And this is happening now.
They've already got a pilot line running in South Korea. They're doing sample tests with major automakers as we speak. This technology is proven at scale.
Let's quantify the demand shock. The market already has a deficit. How much silver are we talking about per EV battery?
This is the number that should really get every investor's attention. Credible estimates suggest one typical 100 kilowatt or 8 EV battery pack using this silver architecture will need about 1 kilogram of silver.
1,000 grams.
1,000 grams.
1 kilogram. Just for context, a phone or even today's EV might use, what, 25, maybe 50 grams for some contacts? This is an order of magnitude change, a totally different level of consumption per unit.
It fundamentally rewires the entire market balance.
Yep.
Now look at the global scale. If this tech captures just 20% of the EV market, which is conservative, that creates new demand of about 16,000 metric tons a year.
And how big is that relative to supply?
That single new application represents about 62% of the world's current annual mine production. And that's layering on top of solar, on top of AI. Silver is being hardwired into the future of power.
And it's not just electric cars. That density and longevity must have applications everywhere.
Everywhere. It's moving into life-critical medical devices, pacemakers, sensors that absolutely have to last 20 years. Defense, aerospace, they need that energy density for drones and next-gen equipment, and of course, massive grid-scale energy storage.
And the partnerships confirm this. That trilateral agreement you mentioned, Samsung, SDI, BMW, and Solid Power, that shows the supply chains are locking in now.
That partnership is one of the strongest signals you can find. When a major OEM like BMW starts evaluating specific cells, it means they are de-risking their future production and securing supply years in advance. It's real.
Okay, so we've got the deficit, the tech breakthrough, the demand shock. Now, let's build the multi-bagger map. If the biggest returns happen under the hood, not on the hood, where should people be looking?
You have to look past the car badge. You focus on the specialized components, the upstream materials where the real moat is.
So starting at the consumer end, which automakers are the first adopters?
Toyota is a clear leader. They hold thousands of SSB patents and are targeting mass production around 2027 or 2028. You also have Hyundai and, of course, BMW with their collaboration. These are the companies that will dominate the high-margin premium EV segment first.
And then one level up, you have the battery OEMs, the margin kings who own the actual IP.
That's Samsung SDI with their AgC technology. You have to include their partner, Solid Power, which is supplying the crucial sulfide electrolyte material. And of course, the other giants like CATL and LG Energy are scrambling to invest so they don't get left behind.
But for the real high leverage, where multi-baggers are born, the hidden compounders, the specialized suppliers.
Right. This is the highest moat tier. First, the silver-rich miners, companies that get immense pricing power from the deficit. You're talking about Fresnillo, the world's largest primary silver producer, Pan American Silver, another big one. Their leverage to the price is just enormous.
And what about the companies actually making the high-tech silver powder for the anodes?
That's where the tech moat is deepest, especially processors and refiners. A company like Ames Goldsmith, for example, they specialize in the ultra-fine silver powders you need for these anodes.
Right.
You can't just substitute that. The purity requirements are non-negotiable. If the powder isn't perfect, the whole battery fails. High-purity refiners like StoneX and Metso are also critical here.
Let's shift from companies to capital signals. How can you track the institutional money moving in to confirm the trend?
You track the partnerships and the policy. While Toyota has the most patents, the strongest signal is an integrated cluster, like that Samsung BMW solid power agreement.
Because it locks in the whole value chain.
It locks it in. It secures supply and de-risks production. Money follows that security.
And governments are now subsidizing this, which completely changes the math.
Absolutely. The U.S. designating silver a critical mineral opens the floodgates. The Inflation Reduction Act, specifically Section 45X, offers a 10% tax credit for domestic production of these critical minerals.
So that's a direct incentive to build these specialized silver refineries in the U.S.
A direct financial incentive. It's all about securing that supply chain.
And finally, what about venture capital?
Oh, it's pouring in. Pure play startups like QuantumScape, backed by VW, or Factorial Energy, backed by Mercedes, they're all racing to industrialize this tech, hoping to own the foundational IP for the next century of power.
Okay, we've covered the deficit, the tech, and the supply chain map. To wrap this all up for the listener, how should they frame this opportunity based on risk?
You need a clear, tiered approach. For long-term compounders, you focus on the battery OEMs like Samsung SDI and the critical silver processors like Ames Goldsmith. They own the high-moat tech.
Okay.
For growth, you target the platform adopters like Toyota and BMW. They'll dominate the premium EV market first.
Makes sense.
For deep value, you look at the silver miners, Fresnillo, Pan American Silver. That's for pure leverage to the physical deficit.
And the high-risk play.
And for the asymmetric bets, yeah, you look at the pure play IP holders like Solid Power or QuantumScape. Highest risk, but also the highest potential reward. It's basically a call option on the future of power.
That brings us to our core takeaway for this deep dive. Lithium-powered phase 1 of EVs. Silver is quietly wiring phase 2.
If silver becomes the backbone of next-generation batteries, which part of the supply chain would you want to own?
Appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, stay sharp, stay patient, and let the market work for you.